'em up, lay it down just like Matt Amari. Wrestling RHAPup's gonna make it sorry. Feeling like the Rock, cause I'm driving the Ferraris. And we coming every week and it's feeling like a party. Pull a Ric Flair, showing out like Bianca Belair, Best podcast, flush it in the air, Roman Reigns and we win it, don't care, No cap. Throw 'em up, lay it down just like Matt Amari. Wrestling RHAPup's gonna make it sorry. Feeling like the Rock, cause I'm driving the Ferraris. And we coming every week and it's feeling like a party.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back to the Wrestling RHAPup podcast. I'm your host, Mari Forth, and with me, as always, my co-host, Mr. Matt Scott. Matt, how's it going?
Happy to be here. Happy to be at the pro wrestling tag team of the hour. It's been a long week, busy week.
Yes.
But you know what? Whenever there's a long week, whenever it's a busy week, I always just think wrestling is longer and busier. So I have so much to be grateful for. How's your week going?
It's going good. I mean, it's going okay. We are recording a very special episode because we are coming here in the middle of the week as opposed to our normal time here.
Slightly earlier,
yeah, exactly. So we can kind of chill and relax over the weekend while it's still kind of steady before we get into the real big Wrestlemania stuff. But it's also been quite a somber week as well. News came down that that announced the passing of Scott Hall, also known as Razor Ramon. He passed away. I want to say, like, was it Monday or Tuesday? It's very shaky, but
I guess it was Monday because on Raw they did have some remembrances, but it was also, I don't know if it was that morning that he was taking off life support, but it was early that day, and the news kind of trickled out, and he unfortunately passed away, like you said.
Yes, and definitely, and our condolences to his family. And it was really a rough day, an awkward day, because we had heard he wasn't doing too well, I think during the weekend, and then Sunday night, Monday morning, Kevin Nash, his longtime tag partner, had announced that he would be taking off of life support, and the whole day, RIP Scott Hall was trending because we all thought he had actually passed away, but then he hadn't passed away. So it was a lot, and we tweeted about his passing when we thought he passed, and if anybody was offended by that, we were under the impression that he had already passed away, but the official announcement came maybe an hour or two later. But no matter what, it was a hard few days for the wrestling community, because Scott Hall really revolutionized the business in so many different ways. From being in the first ladder match with Shawn Michaels, just to making being a bad guy cool. And then of course finally starting the Outsiders, starting NWO, basically kicking off the Monday Night Wars and getting us forever changing the course of wrestling history. So it was a tough loss.
I love all that, and you kind of gave some of the highlights. I remember personally, for me, when I first really truly encountered Scott Hall was when I was just becoming a wrestling fan about just over 20 years ago, when he came to WWE as part of the NWO. So my first exposure to the NWO was that WWE version with like the hard rocking air guitar or whatever kind of guitar theme song, as opposed to like their initial WCW run and everything that came before when he was Razor Ramon. And I mean, I just like such a talented person who's regarded so well. Obviously, he's had so many chapters of his life and ups and downs, and he's always been respected along the way and appreciated. And you have to give people their flowers while they're here. And I would like to think that, especially as part of NWO, he really got that. Just thankfully, not just leading up to his passing, but along the way with all of the NWO tributes that I remember coming across, not only we've seen on WWE TV, but also just on the indies, at conventions, everything else. So it was it's an understatement to say it was a a good run, as tragic as the news is.
Yeah, he's a two-time Hall of Famer.
Hmm.
They've been playing his Hall of Fame induction speech from 2014 a lot,
Hmm.
which has been great. But I mean, for me, I didn't know the Razor Ramon and Diesel of it aspect, but I
Wow.
knew them as Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. Because
Right.
remember, I told you I've documented this when the
Yeah.
Monday Night Wars happened. I was watching both WCW and WWE and didn't realize they were different.
Better
Different
than
for
me
the
though,
longest time.
because yeah, I
And
mean, I wasn't on board yet, so that's
yeah.
interesting though.
So
Wow.
no, I remember them sitting in the stands and all of that, and I only referred to them as Scott Hall and Kevin Nash. I didn't
Yeah.
even realize that they had previous names before that until they came back, and then they referenced all the lineage, and then I went back and watched,
Yeah.
a lot of their stuff. So it's just really funny, and then watching documentaries and stuff like that. I only knew them as the Outsiders and then NWO. So and it's just been a sad week for the wrestling community, and of course condolences to his family, to all of his friends, to everybody who knew him,
Yeah.
and to all of his fans who appreciated him and all that.
Yeah, and I would just even throw in, I remember seeing a tweet earlier this week from Wrestling Down,
Yes.
where they were just kind of sourcing what some of Scott Hall's best matches and moments are, and some of the underrated ones. So there are a number that were listed out there, but I'd encourage just checking out social media in general, but especially just checking them out and that thread. And, I can make sure to include that in the show notes,
show
because there are a
notes.
lot of good matches that are mentioned there. And you know what, WWE might even have a collection of moments. So whatever it is, we will add it into the show notes, the description, where you can find our playlist each and every week, and
Yeah.
links to the things that we mentioned.
Shout out to Lo at Wrestling Down.
Uh-huh.
You can find them at WWD Cast, and she made a great thread about drop your favorite Razor Ramon or Scott Hall matches below, and it's a great resource if you want to just get into some of his greatest moments. So
Yeah.
So we also, for some news today, they announced like another recruiting class for WWE at the Performance Center. And top billing or what a lot of people are talking about is Rok-C, is a part of the new Performance Center cast. She is known as the first ROH Women's Champion, with like that new belt that they instituted last year, or last fall, should I say? And I mean, the hype is there. She's in the Performance Center. She trained with Booker T. She was her trainer, and she wrestled at Reality of Wrestling, his wrestling territory out there. So some high hopes for her. But also, which was pretty cool, I looked at she was the headliner, but I also looked at like the rest of the class that came in. And there's already one girl. Her name is Teresa Schusler. I probably said that wrong, but she debuted on NXT 2.0 as Fallon Henley, and she's already had 3 matches and is basically like in a feud with Elektra Lopez. So like really good for her, I think.
Yeah.
And then we also got Bianca Corelli, who is Santino Marella's daughter.
What?
Is in this class. Yeah. So that's kind of cool.
Yeah. Whoa, that makes me really question time.
Right.
How
Right.
like
It works.
isn't he like still 30 years old? No,
Yes.
but I guess yeah, wow. Okay. But that's amazing. And you know what? I always think it's interesting because WWE is really invested in the future and getting new stars on board. And we have our faves. We have people who we wish were probably recruited there and hired there, who we know. We have people who were there who were let go, and that's always unfortunate. But I don't know. I feel like there's always an underrated excitement to these new Performance Center classes, because we really don't know who's going to be I mean, it's a cliche. I don't know if anyone's going to be the next. I don't want to say who's going to be the next John Cena, but we don't know who's going to be like the next Damian Priest or the next, Roman Reigns maybe, or Seth Rollins, or like someone who's of that level. But they could be in this class. I don't know. I'm watching out for Santino's daughter. I feel like she might have the Cobra and just like go for people and take them out.
I know. I love those second generation wrestlers and stuff like that. And it's because it's always like, what do? Do they go with, their family lineage, or do they try and make a different name for themselves? So that's always exciting. Like, and being like Santino's like daughter is not going to add any like added pressure that I think and I don't mean that I hope that didn't come out disrespectful, but you know what I'm saying. Like,
I know it didn't, but I'm just laughing because I want it to set in with people. Yeah. No, but you're right. Like, it doesn't come with that added pressure. It also doesn't come with an added acclaim to it, where like if you're Brooke Hogan, for example, like if you show up in pro wrestling, there's a lot that you have to live up to.
Right.
And I think of, I was about to make a comment, Mari, that rarely is there a like second generation, third generation, fourth generation star that flops in any way. Like, and I think a lot of them take to wrestling really well. Only person I thought of, I don't know if you've ever seen her in the ring, Lacey Von Erich.
I have.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So
you
don't need to say much there, but most of them take to wrestling really well.
David
I mean,
Flair?
even for her, I think she. Yeah.
David Flair.
Oh, well. That's a great point. No, like the pressure.
Yeah, the pressure.
Not everyone is Rick, and sometimes you have kids and they're nothing like you. Shout to David Flair wherever you are.
Yeah. So that's all for the news, but we do have a few emails. So if you want to email us, you can always send any long form emails to wrestling@robhasawebsite.com, and we may read it on air. So we got 2 this week, and I mean, I love it. We love when we receive these emails, and it just confirms everything that we love to do. So we did get an email from Alexa Power saying thank you for everything you do. Thank you so much, Alexa, for thanking us. They went on to say, just wanted to send a quick note to thank you both and Rob and all the guests and anyone else contributing for everything you do. I never thought I would see anyone like me, LGBTQ female, analyzing wrestling. LGBTQ/female, analyzing wrestling. This podcast is doing so many incredible positive things, not only for the wrestling community, but for the Black community, the LGBTQ community, the genderqueer community, female wrestling fans, and literally just seeing anyone who is not a white heteronormative cisgender man discussing wrestling is so amazing and incredible to me. She said not us. But yeah, and they go on. Let's see. Sometimes I just have to pause the podcast to honestly be so happy that I found you. I don't know what other expression to say other than you guys, y'all. But you both are so amazing and keep me into wrestling, even when it's hard right now with very little diversity in the men's championship picture. So
wow. And I will say, like, we get this week, like, back to back, we got 2 really heartfelt, kind, thoughtful emails. I will try to respond to folks as much as possible, but also, well, one, crazy week, but also, how do you even respond to that in writing? It's just like, thank you so much. And, that's why we exist in the meaningful part of this podcast, because there are a lot of cisgender white men who are talking about pro wrestling, some American, some British, but a lot of them. And we're just happy to be here and, share some wrestling podcast space with them, or at least create a space for, like you said, for Black people, queer people, women, all of the things that aren't really highly represented. So thank you so much, Lexa.
Yes, exactly. And it's what we aim to do here. It was one of the
That's the
main
point.
reasons, we started this podcast. So to hear that what we envisioned is truly, getting to people and
Yeah.
people appreciate it, like, just makes you feel just amazing, to be quite honest. It truly, truly does. So thank you for the words of encouragement. We
Mhm.
really do appreciate that. We also got another
Yeah.
email from our good friend Wes. Thank you for reaching out, Wes. He basically was just talking about, like, him and his daughter
Yeah.
were just going over and watching old Rumbles on Peacock. And he gave us some of his thoughts about them, and they are pretty funny. I won't read it all, but
Yeah.
he
Don't say
talked
that.
he talked about the 2005 Rumble and how it started off, like, with the hazing of Daniel Puder, which
Yeah, Daniel
yeah,
Puder, the
Puder,
MMA.
yeah,
I was gonna say
and
MMA icon, but
mhm.
he is a moment.
That was
There's
the
a
one
time.
where was it Undertaker and uh what's his name? The it was Undertaker and
No.
Sparky Plug, wasn't it?
What?
You know his
Hardcore Holly?
Yes, Hardcore Holly. You don't know
Wait, what
Hardcore
are you
Holly?
saying?
Sparky Plug, that's his original
No, I know. As like a
but
race car driver. Vroom, vroom.
Hardcore Holly. Wasn't that the one where they were the ones who started off beating up Daniel Puder, if I remember
So no,
correctly?
it was not
I
the
love that.
Undertaker. It was
It
like
wasn't
I
Undertaker?
vividly remember this. It was Chris Benoit, and also
Oh,
I don't remember if Eddie
yikes.
Guerrero. Maybe it was Eddie, Chris, and Hardcore Holly.
I think so.
That
That
sounds
sounds
about
that
right.
that
It was
tracks.
definitely yep, definitely Benoit.
Yeah.
Um,
And
wow.
he said hazing is awful and schools need to clamp down on it on their sports teams and living situations, but from a storytelling
I know,
perspective.
but I'm like, yes, we never talk about hazing here on this podcast. But no,
Oh, that was so funny.
Wes, we love you, and I always
Yeah.
love seeing your updates, just with your daughter and wrestling and all of that. So thanks for keeping us updated. Just because, yeah, there's a lot there. And where is Daniel Puder now? Is my question.
Right.
And
Yeah.
maybe that's a good argument against hazing.
Yeah, I think it's a great argument against hazing. But he just said, finally, I'm going back down to watch the ladder match from WrestleMania 10, and he said prayers to Scott Hall and his family. So thank you so much, Wes. We even if we don't
Yeah.
read them all here, we get a huge kick out of stuff like this, and we read them
Yeah.
ourselves, and
And you know
it's
what?
really funny.
Yeah, and I'll also say that on top of all of that, like, we obviously don't spend a lot. We're not the type of podcast to like go back and talk about all of the past shows and past events and past rumbles or whatever. It
Mhm.
comes up obviously as we go along, and there are shows like, I mean, I'm not trying to plug Bruce Pritchard's podcast, but
Yeah.
like his show, for instance, where they
Mhm.
do that. So Wes, hopefully you could also check them out to hear some alternate commentary kind of thing from Bruce and Conrad there. But like, you know what? If you have requests, like if you want us to talk more about old wrestling stuff that's probably buried in our brains, like let us know and
Yeah,
maybe
let
we'll
us
do it.
know. And maybe
Yeah.
that sounds cool. Yeah, let us know.
Yeah.
But again, thank you guys for writing to the email. And thank you, Wes, specifically as well for keeping it going on Twitter as well.
Yes.
He's normally good for the hashtag Wrestling RHAPup on Twitter. That's where you can find us. You can
Wait, I have a new
what?
hashtag, by the way.
Okay.
Hashtag yes for Wes.
Okay, hashtag yes for Wes, along with hashtag Wrestling RHAPup.
Uh-huh.
And then you can always follow us at Wrestling RHAPup on Twitter. Hopefully, you guys are already in the Job Has a Squadcast Facebook group. If not, it's our official Facebook group for the Rob Has a Podcast community who love wrestling. So if you want to get in there, let us know, and we will get you in there. And of course, hopefully you're subscribed to our podcast feed. If not, go to robhasawebsite.com/wrestling feed to subscribe wherever you get your podcast. And I look good. Matt looks good. You should be looking at us look good on YouTube. Go to Rob Has a Podcast.
So good to me. Sorry,
YouTube
I had a
channel.
moment. That's Rob has a podcast YouTube channel. Rob has a website.com/YouTube.
Yes, and you can see our beautiful faces, and you can see some really cool pictures of really cool wrestlers as well.
Yeah. Wrestling.
But wrestling. We're gonna go into a quick break, and then we'll be right back. Okay, let's get into the highlights of the week. All of the highlights can be found in a very handy highlights playlist that you can find either in your show notes or show description, and follow along as we go through the highs of the week. So Raw was it was all right this week. It was okay. It was whatever. You know what I'm saying? It was all right. But I wanted to touch on like Kevin Owens. We're getting more Kevin Owens. Kevin Owens basically responded to Stone Cold's message because the Stone Cold message that we had talked about last week was posted after, and Stone Cold's in the desert and he was looking all intimidating and all that stuff.
Wearing his camo, looking only as good as he can look.
Yes. And so Kevin Owens responded to him, stunned a cameraman. Whoever that cameraman was took a great stunner. It was a lot.
I don't know.
They did a great job.
I'm over these unsafe working conditions. That was not right. And
that is true.
Honestly, right. This cameraman deserves so much better. And it's hilarious because I don't think they showed a single shot through that camera view.
No, not at all.
But he was right there. Like, if this was really going on, you'd think that someone, who is it? Like Kevin Dunn would be in his ear, like, get out of the ring. Your shot's way too close. You're up KO's nose. We don't like it. He just stood there too.
Could you imagine just walking through your office, just doing your work, and then somebody comes and stuns you out of nowhere?
I mean,
that is the equivalent here.
Unfortunately, because of pro wrestling, I have thought about it before, and it hasn't happened yet. But
be like, dude, I'm working here. Like, what is happening?
Do you think they're getting like he's getting workers' compensation or anything for that? Because that was quite the stunner.
It was a good one. It was a good one.
You know what? If you do get stunned at work, just sell, and then sue.
Yep.
That's my thought.
Exactly. Yeah. Have them pay.
Mm-hmm.
But Seth Rollins comes out also later in the night and has this brilliant idea, basically to steal KO's WrestleMania spot. We've talked about it before, but KO and Seth have been very desperate to figure out where the both of them would fit in on the WrestleMania card. KO challenged Stone Cold, and I guess Seth thought, hey, that's a great idea. Let me steal it.
It oddly worked. That's the thing. It's like, well, like, because I kind of said it last week that I thought it was a weird dynamic that KO was challenging Stone Cold after their tag team championship opportunity fell through. Like, if they would have won the tag team championships, he wouldn't have wanted to face Stone Cold, because that's top billing. That's a bigger deal, and it's obviously, even in the context of this Mania, like, who knows if we'll get a match at all? Who knows if we'll get physicality from Stone Cold? But I mean, I would take that before I would take a championship, probably at this point. Or a tag team championship at least. Come on.
Yeah, right.
Let's not pretend.
Right. Let's kayfabe. No more kayfabe. Like, I thought this was great. Because I think that was everybody's question. Everybody's question was like, okay, well, KO has his segment match against Stone Cold or whatever it is. So what's Seth gonna do? A lot of people are concerned. What is Seth gonna do? So I like that they are leaning into that whole what's Seth gonna do? So I thought this was very funny. It made sense because we were all waiting for them to kind of turn on each other, and then they didn't really turn on each other. It was just kind of like KO was like, hey buddy, wait, stop.
Hey, yeah, it's like you're doing. It's hilarious because it's also like So at first, when I was watching that segment on Raw, I was thinking, oh, okay, what Seth is doing is smart. He's creating a talk show, and he's just following what KO did, and then very much became clear that he's just trying to take KO's spot. Which, to be fair, I actually have a lot of problems with this situation. I just want to break it down and let it off my heart because I've been carrying a lot since Monday with this.
Sure, why not?
One, is you don't need to take his spot. You could be the co-host. You could be like,
Mhm.
what's a talk show or like a late night show where they just have someone in the back who has like a bell or something?
Yeah,
to
like
ding,
a
you know?
kind of
Or
like
like a
the
piano.
roots to Jimmy Fallon's,
Yeah,
and then wasn't like Andy Richter or something like that to
sure.
somebody else. Like you need the person that's kind of the funny guy next to the
Yeah.
host.
Ross
Andy Richter
Matthews,
and
I think, was in a
Conan
thing at
O'Brien.
one point.
Uh-huh.
I'm sure everybody has I was
Yeah.
about to say a side piece, a sidekick.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's one
Exactly.
issue. But even more, what I know Vince McMahon. Vince, I know you're listening. I know
Mhm.
you're young, you're healthy. You know, a young 75 or whatever you are
You
at this.
got
Maybe he's 80.
grapefruits.
Great. I'm not talking about his grapefruits.
Well,
Inappropriate.
you were saying the things that he says about himself. I was just adding.
Sorry, you must have confused me with Pat McAfee for a second. I'm not trying to compliment him, just trying to let this why is he obsessed with talk shows? It's 2022. Like, I mean, who has talk shows anymore? Old people.
Yeah, and Kelly
I don't think
Clarkson.
Ellen's still on the air. Dr. Phil probably has a show.
Yikes.
But like the average age of people who have talk shows is definitely like 60. Maybe 65 at this. It's up there. It's not young. It's not JoJo Siwa. You know what I'm saying? So I just think like it should be a podcast or something.
It should be. That would be hilarious. They put a table and get some mics. Oh, it would look like those like ghetto podcasts where it's just tables and mics and people. Oh God, in folding chairs, asking stupid questions. Oh man, I just got
seriously. Why did I'm not
That'd
a
be so
boomer
funny.
and I'm not anti talk show, but I'm just like 2022.
That is smart.
We can make
Matt.
this a TikTok.
That is really smart. Yeah,
or maybe it's a TikTok shoot.
Join the give it to the street profits. The
Bam.
street profits.
Bam. Wait. You have to do your TikTok moves, which are really great for a podcast. Bam. That's it. See, that people can picture it.
We are real. I can't believe we're going this far. I know.
Off the rails.
Off the rails. But
Yes.
KO. So Sonya Deville makes a match between KO and Seth Rollins.
Mm-hmm.
Whoever wins gets the coveted spot with Austin, and KO cements his road to WrestleMania.
Yep.
But also Seth is still sitting there looking like sad and downtrodden. What's going to happen with Seth? What's going to happen with Seth?
It's
That's
so
what people
sad
care
to think
Yeah.
about. You know what? It's actually funny though, because I almost don't care, because in my mind, I'm like, of course, Seth. I don't know. I want a poll. I want someone to put up a poll of like how many people are actually concerned about Seth Rollins' chances at ending up at WrestleMania. Because you're right, he did look very sad, but at the same time,
we could put up a poll.
He is Seth freaking Rollins.
He's Seth freaking Rollins. Yeah.
He'll be there. So
we'll see. It's still TBD for Seth to see if he gets a spot on that card. Speaking of WrestleMania, what will be the tag match for WrestleMania? Because this felt really random to me. The Street Profits came out to challenge RK Bro for the Raw Tag Team titles at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And they said like they had pinned RK Bro a few weeks ago in the ring. Okay, I get that, but it just doesn't make sense because for the past just like kind of like 2 weeks, we had Riddle and Orton versus not only Seth and KO, but the former tag team champions, the Alpha Academy. So the Street Profits waltzing in here feels so weird and random. It feels so random, and it kind of like, I hate it. Just like Kiki was saying last week, it just doesn't feel like they're properly building this stuff up. And Riddle said, we should let's hear him out. Let's face him at WrestleMania. And so we're thinking we're getting Street Profits versus RKO at WrestleMania. Of course, we get the obligatory one person from each team gets a matchup against each other. It was a Riddle versus Montez Ford. And then the Alpha Academy comes out to clean house. So I'm hoping, like I hope beyond hope, it'll be a tag team triple threat. I would love a ladder in there, but I understand if it's not.
I just feel
But
like is there another team that they would want to add in here too? Nah, this is probably it. The
this is
three, I'm
probably it.
assuming.
Yeah, it's kind of
They're not
weird.
adding a ladder.
No, and it's
It'd be
just weird
great.
because they put I feel like Otis and Gable got the titles like what? Maybe it felt like maybe
2 months ago,
2 months ago, right?
maybe. Yeah.
And then they get put in that random match with KO and Seth, and then RK Bro, which was a great match. But then RK Bro won, and then we complained, or I complained. I was like, why did you take the belts off of them so close to Mania?
Yeah.
Then the Profits come, and then now it's just a lot of it. It's just a lot. But if they add Alpha Academy to the Street Profits and the RK Bro match, I'll like that. I'd like that. And it there's a possibility, if that happens, that we leave WrestleMania with Bianca Belair being the Raw Women's Champion and the Street Profits being the Raw Tag Team Champions. And that makes me happy. But I still feel like we could have got to that at a better angle here.
That is an interesting scenario, and I'm almost disappointed that you brought it up because I don't think it's going to happen, unfortunately.
Right.
But it, everything you're saying is making me think about just this idea. I mean, we talk about it all the time with tag teams in pro wrestling that we're not. It doesn't feel like we're meant to care about the tag teams at all. But like breaking it down, like we have Chad Gable, insanely talented wrestler. Like I think a lot of people when he first debuted between NXT and even his main roster call up alongside Jason Jordan were thinking about him like this could be like the next Kurt Angle. And very different scenario. We have people comparing Ronda Rousey to Kurt Angle, so maybe people are throwing that around a little bit much nowadays for different reasons. But actually, to be fair, it's mostly Ronda Rousey comparing herself to Kurt Angle, but that's a story. Seriously. And then you have Otis, insanely talented, charismatic. We're getting his charisma back. We've gotten it back a little bit since a little bit of like an off period for him being the goofy guy, it feels like, or at least like the goofy personality that's out there. And then you mentioned Montez and Angelo Dawkins, like insanely talented. Angelo, insanely underrated. I'm just kind of saying this all to say I'm glad that these people are getting this spot on WrestleMania because all of them, even including Randy and Riddle, could have been in like the WrestleMania Battle Royal. So if that was a thing, so
which they're not. Yeah, I was about to say which they're not going to have this
not
year.
yet, but yeah, it's apparently not happening this year. But I'm just glad that it's. I don't know. I'm glad that they have a spot at least.
Exactly, and
because I'm sure they're not complaining about that.
Right. Yeah. So, yeah. And I think one of them is there to take that pin because I don't think Orton and Riddle are getting pinned. So
probably one of these. Who do you think is there to take the pin?
I'm not. I don't know. I'm thinking maybe the Profits. I don't know because I truly don't know because I would originally say Gable and Otis. But they had Gable and Otis, their run with the titles was very interesting in a weird way. I know we didn't talk about it much, mostly because they were going up against RK Bro and it didn't feel believable. But I think, I don't know. I hope the Profits win, I guess. But it just feels like there's no build. I don't know where it's going. And I'm surprised RK Bro is still together. So I don't know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and you know what? Like it is. You're talking about the Profits and them winning and getting over, and you can't complain about that. But also, Gable and Otis have been doing amazing work, really, especially compared with the opportunities they've had so far in their WWE runs. Like they've really been doing. Gable especially has been doing amazing work, great character work. There's the whole shoosh gimmick, which is a thing. So I'm glad that he's getting more opportunities to show his personality and maybe even to like develop his personality. But I don't know. I think that maybe what we're getting at is that the disappointing outcome would be RK Bro walking out of Mania with the championships. Like, I think we
Yeah.
could agree on that.
Yeah, I think we can. Um, yeah.
Shucks.
So we'll see. We'll see what happens with that. We also, of course, got the continuation of Edge. We didn't get to really talk about it last week, but Edge basically he now has this like dark side, and he premiered it last week where he cut a promo on AJ Styles with like this thick purple light on, which is like really cool. It feels kind of like Undertaker reminiscing type style, but it's a purple light, and then he's really intense and up close. And then he had another promo this week, same thing, just saying that he sits on a mountain of omnipotence, and
First of
that
all,
AJ Styles will
what?
be judged. And I'm like,
I'm
huh?
What? I know. When I heard him say that, I actually had to rewind. I was like, "Is he like?" I was like, "What? What did he just say?
Because
Impotence? No, omnipotence. Okay, got it.
omnipotence, yeah.
Got
But
it.
that
But
don't.
what's on the mountain of omnipotence?
I know,
Is it
like
like CBS Mountain or the Viacom Mountain with
the
RuPaul and
Viacom.
Jeff Probst
Right, and Monet Exchange.
and
Um,
Exchange?
no, I don't know. It's like if you're omnipotent, you don't need to be on a mountain. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, you're everywhere.
Huh?
Why are you on a mountain? And I don't.
Wow,
Is
that's
this
really deep.
like? Yeah, is this like supposed to be like, oh, I'm calling myself God, but I'm not like saying God, so like people are like not as offended. Like, I'm so confused. I don't know. He's saying he's gonna judge AJ Styles, so I don't know. It doesn't matter. It's cool. I'm excited.
Yeah, how are you?
I mean, I'm as excited for any as I can for any men's match. I'll say it like that.
Huh. Interesting. Interesting. I will say, like, for me, I did not like. I just wasn't into this that much at first, because Edge 2 months ago was fighting for his family, fighting alongside his wife. He was just such a different character, and then he snapped, but I'm not sure why. And
I'm not
also,
sure why
it's
either.
weird that, like, why isn't Beth is like, in kayfabe, would Beth come back and try to convince him to not be, I don't even know what to call him.
Yeah.
Or is she upset? Is she supportive? Is she a heel now too, but only off camera and at home while she's taking care of like the kids or whatever else she's doing with her life? I hope she's doing great things. This is weird. It's so weird.
Yeah.
And I didn't get into it, but like, I will say, Edge, as he does, really kind of pulled me into it when he started talking about, I came back and I lost to Randy Orton, and I he went through everyone except for Daniel Bryan, basically, for obvious reasons.
Right, he lost to Roman, yeah.
I mean, it makes sense. He kind of has been punked out so many times over the last two years, I believe it's been, right?
Yeah.
So
True.
I get it. And I hope he stays evil is kind of the thing that I'm hoping, because if he goes back to being face Edge, come on, don't play with our emotions like that, Adam.
Right. No, I think you're right. That's a good point. He has been basically helping the younger folks, minus Miz. I mean, he had that feel good moment, him and Beth, and beat.
Oh yeah, he didn't bring up the Miz thing.
Yeah, exactly. So, and then with AJ Styles, they're both well established, so this could go either way. I imagine since he brought that up, then he has to win now. But I think if he's on this run, I'm assuming this will be his last run. It's been a long run. I don't think we thought it would be this long. And I don't begrudge him for dipping in back into like the dark Edge, the rated R superstar style Edge. Like, heel Edge has always been like my favorite. So like heel him and Christian, him healing it up with Lita, like that's always been my favorite version of Edge. So I'm glad he's found a way to incorporate being a bad guy in this in this run, and doing it in a way that we've not seen him do it, with this light in this like this dark passenger style like character here. So I mean, and it kind of started with the Seth Rollins feud. You know, we saw him
Yeah.
kind of go back to the brood stuff. So good for him. Like I said, I'm excited as I could be for any men's match. So,
do you think that this moment with Edge, where he's kind of losing it, you know, devolving into his heelishness, his evil tendencies, putting on some moody light, do you think that this is his midlife crisis?
Could be. Why not?
I like, the thing I appreciate is that he did say the old Edge is dead, and I really don't want to see that old Edge back for a long time if we're gonna get it. So hopefully they have some direction for where this character is going, but you know how these people are. They don't. Or maybe they do. Maybe it'll lead up to him like fighting for one of the world championships again.
Right. Because that's what I was about to say. Technically, Brock is a face. So if Brock wins or something, then
they'll have, but also there's the fact that the titles are unifying between Brock and Roman, and so they're, I mean, maybe there'll be an open spot,
actively
a new championship.
Shunting that from my brain because I'm like, I hope it's not the case. Like,
well, I don't know what to tell you, but I mean, it is good that we're getting this AJ Styles Edge match. It should be a really good match. I just want to get, I'm not at the level where I'm excited about it yet for Mania. And I'm not sure if it's just the fact that it's also new and doesn't feel motivated. I don't feel like we've gotten AJ's side of things other than him getting his head bashed in with a chair.
Very true. Very true.
So maybe that's it. But something feels a little off with this. As good as both of them are, the storytelling just doesn't seem to be there.
Yeah.
We'll come around.
Yeah. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. We'll go up to the mountain of omnipotence sometime.
Okay. Next up, we had a little bit more movement for NXT Stand and Deliver. I mean, there was a lot of good things. Maybe like I still think NXT 2.0 is can't miss TV, but there's no Carmelo this week. Yeah, no Carmelo. And it was like Dolph's first week as champion.
Woo! We love Dolph.
I mean, we like Dolph, but he was going up against LA Knight. Good for LA Knight. I like LA Knight, but he does not move. He doesn't move me. So, I mean, it was a good episode. It's weird. I don't know if I just quickly say this about it, but like Tony D'Angelo did kind of make a move up against Ciampa. So I mean, it's cute. It's cute. It's appointment viewing. It's cute. But what we're gonna talk about is Cora Jade stole all Toxic Attractions championships.
Yeah, could we talk about this?
It was like, I don't know if that, should I say it's Scooby-Doo-esque or
Scooby-Doo-esque. There's something
like very, very cartoony about this whole. They got multiple segments. I love when the women get multiple segments. But Cora Jade basically stole all their titles, and then she kind of like Home Alone parent trapped them.
That's it.
That is
Home Alone is what I was looking for.
Yeah. She put one. She hung one up in the back somewhere where JC Jane went to grab it, and it like closed a cage, and she locked the cage on.
That was well done.
That was pretty good.
Assuming, I don't. Yeah, for someone who's so short to be able to maneuver something that involves height, we like it. We like
for
it.
Something that wasn't even a room. It was like boxes.
No.
Like JCJ was like, it was like boxes and like some wire and some mesh, whatever. It was
random
cute.
ass cage. And I will say it actually, and I'm sure that this was, I know that this wasn't a reference, or I'd be shocked if it was a reference, but it brings me back about 20 years to like NWO feuding with Steve Austin. And there was one night where Steve, good old Steve had multiple segments where I think he was like punking out members of NWO. So I think I think he locked Scott Hall in some kind of thing like that. One of them got locked into a cage. Scott Hall was getting dragged around or something. I don't know. This was 20 years ago, people. My memory is not there. But that's why you got to go back and watch. But yeah, it reminded me of that. And then, you know, not to jump ahead, but even the spray paint that we saw later reminded me of NWO doing the whole spray painting on people's backs. So I doubt that it's a reference only because
but it probably was.
I mean, maybe it
because
is
of the
the three of them too. I mean, if it is, I like it. If it's not, I also like it. But this was fun. We got a lot of Cora, and I get why people are
like
Cora Jade fans, you know?
Right. And it was also announced that like Rachel Gonzalez is, I think this is kayfabe injury, but Toxic Attraction took out Raquel Gonzalez during their Dusty Cup match. They said she's not going to be back for 2 to 4 weeks. And because of this, Cora Jade got the championship match against Mandy Rose. And so like I said, like we were saying, she proceeded to like, she locked what's her name, Gigi Dolan in JC Jane was in a cage,
right?
Gigi Dolan was in a trash can. I was like, ugh.
First of all,
in a dumpster.
Is it really worth it is my question. Is
to
it
go in to go in and get your title from a dumpster?
Just get a new one.
There has to be a PA somewhere. Like
literally no one was around in any of these circumstances. And
grab
you know,
PA.
I mean, if your championship's in the trash, like just leave it. Get a new one. It's not irreplaceable. It's expensive, but not irreplaceable. It's also not your responsibility to get your championship.
Well, there you go. And then she tried to trap Mandy, but she didn't get. Mandy got the upper hand of her.
Wait, can we break this down? Because
break it down.
This is the goofiest thing ever. Mandy Rose apparently all night was just sitting in the back of her hot car, like ducked down in the back seat, waiting for Cora Jade to get in the car and try to steal her car.
I don't know. Again, very Wile E. Coyote style.
Just putting out there. It's very goofy is the word that is top of mind right now.
So, but she ended up, like you said, brought out the spray paint. It didn't even look like she wrote anything on her. It looked like she just spray painted her.
I'm assuming it was a T and an A.
That's what I assumed too, but it did not look.
That's because it doesn't look good when you write a T and an A on somebody, because you can't really see the lines and the letters, especially when it's spray paint. But you know what?
And Cora Jade's so tiny, there's no room.
Yeah, I was like, this is like literally the paint was just covering her. So
yeah, it just looked like it looked like she just sprayed it. And I guess Hulk and them had more room because they were dealing with like dudes, so they could get the whole NWO in there.
Yeah, brother. I need to work with someone with a big back so I can get all the letters in. Yeah, brother. Thank you, brother.
So it was cute. It was cute. It leads up to their match, and I think again, Mandy Rose, I think she's a good NXT champion for what they need in that division right now. I think it's perfect. Like I've said it before, I think that whole Divas champion style thing is getting heat with people in a good way. So I like that. I think Cora Jade is a massive underdog. They've been painting her as a massive underdog for months now. And it would be a shocker if she won here. So that would be kind of cool. I would love a good 1-2-3 kid versus Scott Hall, right? Was it? Yeah, right. It was Razor Ramon, right? Yeah, in a moment here. So maybe we'll get something to that effect. So
wow. Yeah. I remember we started talking about Cora Jade when she was with that I don't want to disrespect him, but that the man who was there too, with probably who also had skateboarder, rollerblades, or I wish I could remember. But yeah, it's just cool that she's come into her own. We saw her in the War Games match have some moments, and you know, I love that people are getting behind her, and she's a rootable underdog. You know what? It reminds me a little bit of, you know, totally different people, but AJ Lee, AJ Lee comes to mind because
Yeah.
just from the size perspective, I'm sure that she even probably has worn some. I'm sure she wore things that were
She
similar.
did. Yeah,
So
the checkers and the
so
skater aspect.
yeah, it's relatable, and
Mhm.
it's kind of something that people could gravitate to. So
Yeah.
good
And
for her.
she's been having those style upset matches, for months. So
Yeah,
it'll be good. We'll see what happens. Stand and
superstar.
deliver.
Yes.
Sarray and Tiffany, they had a feud that's heating up. Last week, Tiffany was in a match, I think against who we were just talking about, Fallon Tinley or something like
Fallon
that. She was
Henley.
Fallon Henley, yes.
Yeah.
And Sarray came out of nowhere and just kicked her in the back of her head, which was hilarious. So they announced a match for
Rude.
this week.
Yeah.
And I love this segment because it fleshed out Sarray's character here. So, like we've been talking about, Sarray's been coming to the ring. She has her like magical amulet thing, and then right before she goes out into the audience, she completely transforms. She puts she has the like Sailor Moon-esque ring gear on. She has different color hair, which I think is so cool how they do that. Like just giving her like the spray, the washable spray paint and stuff like that. And she kind of comes out like a superhero sun warrior type thing. And that's her entrance, is we see her walking from the back and then coming out into the stage. This time we're thinking we're getting Sarray's like walking through the back. She's looking at her amulet, and then all of a sudden Tiffany Stratton comes out of nowhere, busts her face into the camera. I was like, cameraman, get out the way. Like,
I mean, this week is not a good week to be a cameraman in WWE.
Exactly.
That's for sure.
And then proceeds to like beat her butt all the way down the ramp, and so Sarray can't transform. She can't change, and she gets her into the ring, and she ends up hitting all of her moves and ends up pinning Sarray.
Yeah, and Tiffany did a little I don't know what was happening here, because it's funny because I have been like kind of watching along Tiffany Stratton.
Yeah.
First of all, doesn't she look like a cupcake?
Yes, we will talk about Tiffany Stratton. I just kind of want to hammer home the Sarray stuff here real quick, because I feel like this was a great development for her character, because it introduces that type of Finn Balor versus the demon Finn, or regular Kane, corporate Kane versus regular masked Kane, the Fiend versus Bray Wyatt, because it shows that she was vulnerable when she was not transformed into her, like all of her accoutrement. So I love that for us. I love that for Sarray. I like that they beat her up. She still looked like she was like in an extra for Harry Potter.
That was so rude. Well, okay, wait, that was rude. That comment was rude. But also, what happened to her is, okay, maybe I'm just showing my ass here, because I wouldn't want to be an extra in Harry Potter, but that's my own issues to sort through. Sarray, yeah, you're kind of spot on there. And it's fun. I just wish they showed more respect to Sarray by putting up more photos of her backstage in this gimmick, because I've been looking for them for like the past 5 minutes. But I like that idea. It's kind of funny because it's like, okay, does Sarray need to like kiss the amulet and then walk through the smoke? Because clearly it doesn't work if she is dragged through the smoke. Because wouldn't it be funny if you're Tiffany and you like drag her through and you're like, I got you, and then she transforms anyway?
That would be so cool if they did that one more time.
Yeah,
something to that effect. But I love that, and I'm sorry, and I just wanted to get that across for Sarray, because it just fleshes out her character in such a small way that I'm like, okay, so when Sarray's not transformed, I'm gonna be like, okay, anything happens, but then if she is transformed, I'm just gonna expect her to win.
I mean, where do you expect this to go? Like, how do you expect it to develop? Do you think we'll see? I mean, I'm curious, like, because this is like this is kind of fun to think about what they might be trying to do here.
Yeah, if this feud is going to continue, I think Tiffany is going to keep trying to catch her unawares so she can't transform. And we're just going to keep getting that. Yeah, we're going to keep getting that tease of, can Tiffany keep her from transforming? And then once Sarray transforms, we're going to be like, oh my God, yay! And she's going to beat her. You know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's that's at least where this feud goes. Um,
Yeah.
so let's
Man.
go over to Tiffany Stratton. So you were right
Cupcake.
that
She
this,
looks like a cupcake. And
yeah,
it's
I
like
don't know what's going on with this.
I think it's fascinating because her background is a like a gym I think a gymnast
Gymnast,
background,
yeah, uh-huh.
very athletic from and that's the thing I want to say is that like we don't need to know that she's athletic. In fact,
Mhm.
it helps her gimmick if we don't know how much of an athlete she is in theory.
Agreed.
But
Agreed.
what do you think about? Well, there's okay, we
There's
were
a
asked a
question. Yeah.
question.
Yeah, let's
Yes.
ask the question. So we got a question from Derek last week.
Mhm.
He said, also, what are your thoughts on Tiffany Stratton? After a few months of her now, I'm kind of impressed. Her song is kind of a banger and reminds me
Uh,
of like Bowling for Soup style songs. And her match with Erica Yan last week on Level Up was really good. And excited to see
yeah.
her working with a great worker like Sarray. So, Tiffany Stratton, I think uh she's still working on her gimmick because correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this cupcake outfit that she wore here is completely different from like the outfits I've seen her in the last few times. Like I think she's still trying to nail her
Maybe.
gimmick down. Yeah.
Yeah,
And then
it is different. And also I will say I
yeah.
think though specifically this past week she was wearing this freaking cupcake outfit,
Yeah, like a really like, and then other her other
which
outfits have kind of looked like definitely like a gymnast
and
style.
by the way, to describe this cupcake outfit for the
Yeah.
audio people, in case you're like, you know what, Matt Mari, I love to listen to you. Never gonna watch you on YouTube. Never gonna check out the clips. Basically, it's very involved. Where I guess the best place
Mhm.
to start, she has these little wrist guards, wristbands that have ribbons on them.
Yeah, little bows.
There's
Mhm.
just a lot of frills, tons of frills all over this outfit. Mari, what else is going on here?
Yeah, it's like you truly nailed it with like the cupcake because there's like small pearls and bows. It feels straight out of like a tea party like style. It
Tea
does, and like little
party.
jewels, pearls, lots of bows, very girly pink. It's a very girly pink, very frilly. And then she's normally had on like this blue style thing with trunks, and then at one point she had on a blue bikini, and then
Yeah.
like a skirt. So I really feel like she's still trying to nail down her gimmick
Yeah.
on social media. I want to say last week she went a little viral because
Oh,
she went a little viral because there's a clip that showed of her like getting into the ring. It
oh
was
no. Did she do a split? Did she do a split?
no,
Is that what happened?
she literally did everything. Like, she got up on the apron,
Ah!
she did, like, a pose on the apron, she then got on the ropes, did a
Wait,
pose
I
on the
had to see
ropes.
this.
She flipped her
Yeah.
hair back, came back on the thing, got under the ropes, got into the ring, turned around, did a hair flip over the shoulder. Like, she literally
Very
did
choreographed.
everything. Yes, very, very choreographed. Oh, I'm sorry, I wish I would've sent it. I'll find it and I'll send it to
Oh
you again,
no,
but
and it's great because I watched anyway because I've been the last few weeks especially I've been like, what is Tiffany Stratton up to? And it's been
mhm.
fascinating to see her develop these last few weeks especially. And the thing that I noted in watching her match from Level Up last week was that it was like she did a good job in the match and all of the moves were well done. But to your point, and I think Kurt Angle talks about this, or he's talked about this before, saying, anyone could do a move, anyone could do the move, right? But it's the things between the moves that really, really set people apart. And there is some awkward stuff between the moves where it's like, she's not living the gimmick or bringing that to it as much. And, it doesn't seem like to your point, it doesn't seem like she's truly a Valley girl. Like
Yeah.
she just happens to be blonde, and they were like, "Oh, you're blonde and you're pretty. You're the Valley girl now."
Yeah, I
So
sent it. I
she's
sent you
getting there.
the clip. I don't know if you can play it, but yeah, and that's the thing. Like, I think she has the moves. Her moves still like are like they're. It's I really truly hate to say it because I feel bad for saying it, but it's straight out of the tall, athletic blonde. It reeks of like Charlotte moveset and Lacey Evans. Well, you know what I'm saying? Like she does the flips into the corner, all of that good stuff. So she's very athletic. She's improving. Like Matt said, I too have been watching some of her level up stuff. I just think she needs to nail a gimmick. I love how she's like, oh, my daddy pays for everything, blah 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 blah. But it's done. Like it's done. Like we've seen this before, and I really wonder if they named her because they want to they want to bring up like Trish Stratus when they so I feel like it's big.
That's what they're going for.
Yeah, I feel like it's big shoes to fill. So I think she has a good journey ahead of her. I think she's gonna be a good. I just hope they don't like I said with Braun Breaker, I hope she stays in developmental for a while so that she can really get her feet under her. Because also, and I'm not trying to be mean about it, but sometimes her eyes don't connect with the audience to me. They're kind of like fishy, like dead-eyed. I'm just saying.
Tiffany,
that's what
Tiffany.
I'm just saying, but she cool. I'm just saying she just got to get
I'm so sorry. Mari
no,
does
this is why
not know how
NXT
to show
2.0 is
respect to a
developmental.
queen.
This is why
Daddy's queen.
Oh no. Can you show it? Are you able to
Yeah,
show
I could do it. I'm just like, okay, we're not gonna get sued. Everyone just pretend. Don't tell WWE that we're playing this. But
yeah,
here she is. We're watching a video right now. That entrance. Oh, okay. Wait, I'm gonna have to play this again. Give it a rewind. We're seeing.
Yes.
I wish we had like a play-by-play of this. So, she's on the apron, spins around, does a little hip action, puts one leg over the rope, flips her hair, picks it back down, puts it under the rope, does a weird bend back thingy.
Yeah.
Ivy Niles confused, and she flips her hair and says, "Aren't you impressed?"
Raises her arms,
turns her ass to the camera, flips her hair again, and then does a little shoulder move. Damn, she's really figured it out. I wish that I had that level of choreography for my day-to-day life.
I'm telling you, I feel like she put there's the Iconics move in there. I saw the Maurice move. Like
maybe she's
like
just a super fan. Person. Maybe she's a super fan and just bringing in all of the references.
It's so
on
funny.
Purpose. Yeah,
it's so funny. So yeah, no, I think she's gonna be great. I just think she needs to settle into something, and hopefully WWE doesn't rush it.
But the fact that she has a chance to do it on TV, because there's nothing like TV to prepare you. There's nothing like doing anything to prepare you for doing it, but there's nothing like being on TV and then, apparently Bruce Pritchard and some others being able to look at NXT and say, oh, here's what you need to do better. Here's what you need to tweak. Here's what we're going to do. So I'm hopeful for her, but also, I mean, we'll see. I mean, hopefully she's around NXT for a little while and has some time to shine up and polish up and all those other words about getting better.
And like Derek said, working with a great worker like Sarray is only going to help her. So,
well, that is true. And Derek knows what's up. So Derek, let us know if you have questions about Tiffany Stratton going forward. If there's anything that we might miss, we will come back.
Yeah, let us know.
But yeah, and I will say I like her. Well, I like her, but I like her theme song is her
theme song. Yeah.
If it's the gimmick, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully she gets to keep it whenever she's on the main roster. We're not even going to go there. I'm sorry. I'm just bitter. So
we also got Indi versus Persia, which this was kind of funny. It's like I'm still confused as to why they are feuding. Indi and Persia imploded. I'm still confused. Maybe I missed something, but I know like Persia is now with Duke Hudson, and then Indi and Dexter. It's like the commentary on the clip said it's like Romeo and Juliet or something. But this was the first time I ever seen this. Indi and Persia had a match against each other just to kind of like blow off some steam to settle the score or whatever. But they both came out. They're a tag team, mind you. If people forgot, they are a tag team. They both came out at the same time to their music. Like, it was the funniest thing I've ever seen in my entire life.
Mm-hmm.
They're like they come up, they hit the music, it's both their music, and then both Indi and Persia come out, and I think they announced Persia first. They're like making their way to a ring, Persia, and then as Persia is trying to like do her entrance, Indi is getting in front of her, in front of the camera. It's like, it's just this whole back and forth
And
of,
rightfully so.
yeah, of Indi trying to steal, feeling like Indi's trying to steal Persia's spotlight. And they're making their way to the ring. They're nudging each other to get in camera view. They get on the apron and they're nudging each other to try and be the one in the forefront of the camera. It's very funny. I've never seen people who are going up against each other coming out to the same
Not
music.
like that, and at the same time too.
At the same time. Yeah, at the same time with the same music. Yeah. So and then we just get a really quick match from them. And it was so funny because me and my husband were watching this, and James is like, okay, if another tag team comes out and interrupts this match, because we were like, somebody's interrupting this match.
Yeah.
Then that means they're gonna still ride together. They're still gonna be a tag team. And he was like, but if the boyfriends come out, this might not be good for their tag team going forward. And sure enough, during their match, we got Duke Hudson came out, and then Dexter came out, and
Sexy Dexy, yeah, baby,
Sexy Dexy. He distracted. It was distracted long enough for Indi to get the win, the like quick win. And then they all four of them got into the ring, and they kind of had like a kiss off. It was this part, like, Matt, I don't know if you know, but I've said it on like a lot of the Bachelor and Bachelorette podcasts. I do not like watching people kiss. Like,
no, you've talked about this before in relation to Indi and Dex. I'm 100% sure, because we've looked like they've had some graphic kissing moments.
Yes, and it was I was like, oh, I cannot. But basically, like, I think Persia kissed Duke first, so then Indi kissed Dexter. It was like like, it was just progressively more and more suggestive kisses until, like, if you're watching YouTube, Matt has a picture up, both of the women kind of just jumped the bones of the men, and they're
got very suggestive. It was I don't want to know what happened after this, but
it was very interesting. And then they cut off like that. I was like, so are they still friends? Like, what is happening?
I think they just probably dimmed the lights in the arena, and maybe they're more than friends now.
Yeah, it was very, very interesting. I mean, I'm glad
it was a
there
choice.
Are love stories.
It was a choice. It was a choice. And I guess they're still friends because they want to be like each other, and they have these men who also, I guess, like, maybe is this a situation like The Way? Is this The Way? We get the two women, the two men. Candice just had a kid and is out. Candice LeRae. Yeah, Candice LeRae. Johnny Gargano no longer there. Indi is here. Austin Theory's on the main roster. To me, this feels a little bit like it could lead into The Way dynamic.
Maybe we'll get like the segments where it's like Indi and Persia are trying to get Dex and Duke to like each other. Okay. Yeah. I see maybe.
Yeah, I mean, I still don't really follow like why they were
they're mad. Yeah, me neither.
Don't let a man get between you and your friendship. He's not worth it, especially Duke Hudson. Come on.
Right. If you guys know, let us know, because maybe we missed it, because I know they're trying to say it on commentary that it was a misunderstanding between Duke and Dexter or something like that.
I mean, the way that I remember it, because I remember watching this a few weeks ago where there was something where I don't know if it was Persia trying to show up Indi and Dex by having the Duke relationship. Duke was in a relationship with somebody before. I don't think Duke was Duke allegedly with Indi before Dexter. That would make sense for why they're feuding, maybe.
Not to my knowledge. I don't know.
Look, I don't look. So let us know. Let us know if you care.
Yeah, let us know. So that's it for WWE this week. All the highlights can be found in the playlist. We'll take a quick break and we'll be back to talk AEW. Okay. All right. We have a new AEW Women's Champion.
Woo!
Brum, brum, brum,
Ooh,
brum.
I don't know if that's the appropriate response,
No,
but
that's good. No.
feels like it.
So Thunder Rosa beat Britt Baker, DMD,
Champ,
um,
champ.
in a steel cage match. I mean, wow. That match. I mean, it was okay. So we've said it before. Their match. I think somebody said like a year. It was almost like a year ago. Like
Yeah, bloody.
yeah, but yeah. The first one, the first like what was that a street fight match or something like that? The
Was it a
first really
lights
bloody
out?
one,
Yeah, it
lights
was
out
basically a
match.
street
Yes,
fight.
it was
Yes,
basically a
it was
street right,
basically right. But the lights out match,
lights out.
which
Yeah,
I feel like I need to go back and watch
and
that
what?
back
Yeah,
because it's
I
been a
it's
long
been a
time
it's been a
since that
year.
happened.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and people thought maybe then I think that match helped propel Britt Baker on her reign.
Yeah.
But people she's had it for a long time. Some people love what she's doing. Some people think it just was too long of a reign.
How do you
So,
feel about that situation with Britt?
I know I feel like I was more excited for her when she wasn't the champion. Like when she was like using all those promos and she had the the segment, like what was it, like the dentist chair segment or the dent whatever that office segment was,
Yeah.
when she was like
Oh.
building up her character, especially
Yeah.
her heel character. And then when she got the belt, I lost a little bit of interest because all of the fights, none of the fights felt big and all that
Yeah.
type of stuff. Honestly, her and Thunder Rosa have been my favorite feuds out of Britt Baker's feuds. So I think I think it was time. I truly think it was time, and I'm so glad that Thunder Rosa got the nod because people love Thunder Rosa,
Yeah.
myself included, and I think it was just the right time, the right storytelling, and I think their matches to me are the ones I feel that elicit the most emotion. Now, is that because of the weaponry? I don't think so, because I vaguely
Interesting. Yeah.
liked the stuff with like when they included Jamie Hayter and Chris Statlander with the Thunder Rosa and Dr. Baker feud. So I like their matches that didn't have all of the weapons and stuff like that. So I think I just like their chemistry.
Yeah.
Per se. Yeah. I think that's for me, that's my favorite Brit feud, and I think she has the most chemistry with, for me.
I will say that no, that's amazing to hear. And you brought up something that for me has, well, two things actually with Britt. One thing that I don't love about Britt, and it's a little bit of a Charlotte Flair thing, or it's not a Charlotte Flair thing, but it's something that I know that we've seen with Charlotte Flair in the last year. I don't remember who Charlotte was feuding with. Maybe it was Becky, but she was in the Carolinas in the ring, and she was doing like a call and response type of like, say it with me, which is more of like a face
Becky,
move. It was Becky. Exactly. It was the Becky thing. And Britt is supposed to be a heel. Tony Schiavone, who's like her number one fan in AEW. He does the DMD, which to me is like such a face move. The fans do it along with her when she comes out, and there's just something off to me. Like I just wish people hated her more. I wish that they threw out the parts of her gimmick that were the crowd interaction, because it hasn't been very clear that she's a heel, and she hasn't even gotten like more evil over the time that she's been champion, that she's been the heel champion. I will say though, back to what you said about the weaponry in this one, to me it's weird because Thunder Rosa almost won this match at AEW Revolution, if not for all of the interference that was happening. And so the fact that this turned into like such a blood feud match, and it took so much for her to win, was a little surprising to me. But maybe that's just how cage matches are. I don't think they needed the blood and the thumbtacks and everything else. I'm not complaining really, but they didn't need it for the match.
I think they had that. I didn't think they needed it either, but they wanted to call back to that match.
Oh, totally.
If
and I
anybody
appreciate
ever,
that.
if anybody ever talked about Britt's reign, they always refer back to that match because I'm the same way. Like I've documented that I'm not a fan of people bleeding first and foremost.
Sure.
That's the medical professional in me. Um, or like having to rely on weapons to get a story across, like
Mm-hmm.
somebody does, Charlotte Flair.
Yeah.
But it made sense. In this long run of this feud, it made sense. You know, you put that steel cage there to keep out all that interference. You beat each other bloody because you know this is the hump that Thunder Rosa has to get over. So I wasn't mad at it. I thought it made logical sense. I didn't think it was just putting somebody in a Hell in a Cell because it's Hell in a Cell month. So you gotta put them in Hell in a Cell. You know what I'm saying? So,
Well, damn. I guess that's a great point.
Yeah. So I liked it.
Yeah. And you know what? I'd like to too at the end of the day. I mean, it's hard because it's easy to look at any of these clips or moments in isolation and critique it. But, you know, when you point out that they're not just putting them in this match because it's like it's cage day or whatever, you know, it makes sense. Like I like
Yeah.
that they did this. And you know what? It's a memorable match that they had. It was a strong match. It was a good win. And it's good that they didn't prolong the Thunder Rosa like win for too much longer because
Exactly.
I think people were pretty disappointed that she didn't take the win at Revolution.
Yeah, exactly. So I thought it worked out. And it again, it's still this weird like dichotomy in me where I'm like, I do not like extreme matches like this, but I wish there were more women's extreme matches. Like
Oh
I truly
yeah,
do.
totally.
And that's basically looking at WWE. Like I wish there was more extreme matches for the women, but then also like I think the AEW on the AEW side, they bleed and blade too much. So, you know.
Yeah. I know. It's gonna be well, it would be interesting to understand how they think about bleeding and blading because I mean we just saw that actually a couple weeks in a row technically we saw just bloody CM Punk leading into Revolution and then at Revolution and that really didn't do anything for us. To me it just you know, it's something about like knowing that blading is a thing too. And, you know, CM Punk, not to talk about him now for too long, but like, you don't need it. You don't need it to tell a good story, but it is
Exactly.
it does enhance stories too when it's done right. And when it's not, you know, when there's not a different person bleeding every single show, which I'm not saying that's what it is, but it feels like it for how closely we watch AEW, which isn't as closely as some people are watching every single show. So we get it.
Exactly. And because we're recording this before SmackDown, I could not like I think it's the difference of using extreme measures to hide the poor showing of the participants versus making it make logical sense and having the people to execute it. Because I think I said last week that I would not be surprised if they made Charlotte and Ronda like maybe more into I know the whole thing is going to be like I'm going to make you submit like but I doubt that they would make it a submission match because submission matches are so freaking boring. I'm sorry. Submission only matches are very, very boring to me.
They're tough to make interesting.
Exactly.
Like if you have, I don't know why. There are better examples than Chris Benoit, but Chris Benoit is someone who comes to mind. Kurt Angle, even back in the day. I'm sure there are some great submission matches too, where people had a lot of things to pull from, and it wasn't like, let me go for my one move. But like, I'm gonna try a headlock to get you to submit. I'm gonna try a sleeper. I'm gonna try my finisher. I'm gonna try my other finisher.
Yeah.
So I hear you on that. Yeah, they can be boring when they're not done well or done right.
Like the natty ones. Sorry, natty. But
like
because it's just we all know she's just gonna try and go for the shooter. That's it, you know.
Leave Natty alone.
But then I think of like Sasha versus Ronda when it wasn't even a submission match, but Sasha put out all of these technical mat based moves against Ronda, you know. So yeah, I don't know. But I could see Charlotte and Ronda being like a street fight or something like that, because that's what they use to get that. They can use to get that match over. But
I would
so
love
happy
for them.
Mhm.
What? Yeah. Oh, well.
Oh no, I'm just gonna wrap it up.
Yeah, I was gonna say we don't need to. We'll talk about Ronda and Charlotte
Maybe
some
next
other
week.
time. I'm
Yeah,
sure, probably next week.
next week will be our WrestleMania preview podcast. So
Oh my God, what are you
I
talking
know
about? It's already
it's already here.
coming up.
It's right here. It's right there.
No.
It's right there. Yeah. So we'll see what happens. Congrats to Thunder Rosa. Can't wait to see what her reign looks like. Hopefully, like it's a good one and all that great stuff. And finally, AEW, we got the
what is going on here?
I don't know. So Jericho introduces another new stable called the Jericho Appreciation Society. Okay, few things here. One, that name, can we workshop that? I saw someone on Twitter said I'm gonna just forever refer to them as jazz hands. Which had me dying. The promo itself, like the promo itself was just the same style of promo that Jericho does whenever he introduces a stable. You know what I'm saying? Like we've seen it a few times. Even
literally
just here
in AEW.
Yes, exactly. And I praised him for these type of promos.
Yeah.
Where you say, this is who we are. This is what we stand for. Let me introduce you to each member of the stable so you know who they are. And then we ended by saying what we're gonna do to this company. Like it's cut and paste. Like we've seen it.
It was so formulaic and
yeah.
Yeah, well, it was, but it also wasn't in a weird way because I was fascinated by who these people are. Some of them were getting name changes on the fly, apparently.
So let's talk about it, right?
Let's talk about it. Bring it to the red table.
Let's bring it to the. First off, I will say Chris Jericho is looking like he's in great shape. You know, he's in better shape than he is. I will that is my good thing.
Them on.
I thought Matt,
they look great.
You're trying to be nice.
Oh no, I'm just saying he looks amazing. He looks amazing right now, and
he does look like he's in some really good
actually.
shape. Now I'm trying to go over the highlights of it, which a funny thing to me I thought was like Chris Jericho talks about how we're lucky to be in his era, we're lucky to experience him, and then he talks about he said I see all of the things that you talk about, you say about me on social media, and I personally started cracking up because I know exactly some of the things that people say about him on social media, and it always comes to mind now every time I see him. Do you know what he's referencing? It's like that.
Is it wrestling related, or is it just like about all the other things about him?
It's wrestling related. It's like when that one time that AEW played right after basketball, or like they played something for AEW right in the middle of a basketball game or right behind a basketball game. And so all of these NBA fans saw this promo or this match or whatever it was, and the NBA fans just started lighting him up because he was one of the main people they were pushing, because everybody knows who Chris Jericho is. Right. And so a lot of the tweets, and it was mostly Black NBA Twitter. One Black NBA, the Twitter people said, why does Chris Jericho have the body of a baby mama? Like, and ever since then,
how dare you?
I know we don't like body shaming here.
We definitely don't.
It's
not nice.
And I
will also say, look at this. Look at that body. Look at that body right now.
It looks really
I don't know
how
I literally don't know how his body is so. These abs. If you're looking at YouTube, I'm tracing over his abs right now so you can see the contours.
Because that was another thing. Somebody said Chris Jericho, and it was a picture of Mr. Krabs from SpongeBob when he was out of his shell. All right. So okay, let me stop. That was wrong. But
no, but I will say, here's what I will say about Chris Jericho is that, you know, the beautiful thing about him is that it's just all about motivation. Like, if he wants to be in, you know, 2000 Chris Jericho shape like he is now, he can. That's not always the case for people. That's kind of the way. I mean, I think that it's fair to point that out, but because it's nice to be able to point out how good he is looking now.
Yes.
Could we keep saying that again? Just keep talking about how good he looks.
He is a part of the joke. Like he
is.
Just said, I see it, and you're not nice. He said, you're not nice. He said some hurtful things, but it's because you're jealous. You know, so it's really funny that he's a part of the joke. He made it a part of the joke. So, but yes, let's get into it about like he starts introduce. I'm looking at this ring and I'm like, who are these people? I know not a single one of these people.
That's not true.
Jake Hager.
Exactly.
I just said
Hager.
Instead of Jake Hager,
good. Just
who has just been Jericho's ride or die. He even says that Jericho says he's a ride or die. So Jericho goes down the line and starts talking about each and every one of them. One dude is named Daniel Garcia. He was in a crash. Jericho helped him. That was a great story. I love that story. He talked about the two guys next to him, and I was like,
who?
Yeah, what? He even said their names, and I was still like, who?
No, Matt Lee and Jeff Parker.
Yes. But do you know who that is, though? Because I got the tea.
Oh, I know who that is, and I'm so proud of myself. That's wait, don't tell me. That's the two from that tag team that were in NXT.
Yes.
Those people.
Yes.
That
did you just guess that?
No, because it came back to me when you said it just now.
Yes.
I can't think of their name though when they were in NXT.
That is Everrise.
Everrise, yes.
Yes.
Gone too soon.
Who they were originally named 2.0, and that's why he said that's bad name for bad creative, whatever. That's he always does that WWE shot. But they don't. I'm like, I must be misremembering Everrise because I don't remember them looking like that. But then again, I don't know.
No, I
just remember when they left.
Yeah.
Like, but did you know how long they had been in NXT developmental?
I didn't know. We don't know.
They knew it. They had been in NXT developmental for like 5 years. Like they didn't wrestle any televised matches until basically right before they were let go.
Yeah, and then I remember they were let go. I think their match either aired like after they were let go or the day before they were let go.
Yeah, the day before. They were in the middle of they're in the middle of a feud when they were let go. So it's
and I think their last match might have been, or one of their last matches was with Hit Row.
Oh.
Yeah, they kind of got squashed by Hit Row. Yes, which makes sense because it was around the same time too.
Yes. So I was like, oh, okay. Yeah, and so this one, I mean, this is Jericho's at least second, third stable here.
Well, maybe
second Inner Circle.
Maybe seconds. There was like
there's Inner Circle, and then
then there was also the Pinnacle stuff happening, but that's MJF.
But that's MJF
feuding with them. Probably this is probably it. This is probably it. But
notable. So it was just like I don't know. I'm like, this seems like a downgrade. But the biggest thing is they after christening themselves the JAS, he called himself a sports entertainer. He said, I'm the greatest sports entertainer alive, right? Really playing up this, what people hate in pro wrestling nowadays. And they said and he said, I'm a sports entertainer. So Daniel Garcia said, well, if you're a sports entertainer, I'm a sports entertainer. And Jake Hager, nope. So at the end they were like, we are this is a new era. This is the era of sports entertainment in AEW, and that they're there to beat all of the pro wrestlers. So it's just like, again, more playing into your audience, and we'll see how it goes. But
yeah, I just
Jericho has
like
a new stable.
other people in this range, you know, I'm not saying it, but you know, like throw in Sunny Kiss, you know, even that, you know, we're just like,
Why
give
would
us
you?
a little something, give us a little bit more like melanin and like, you know,
Some diversity would be nice, but you
yes,
know what? I don't know. This is a ship.
yeah,
And we'll see
it's a
if it
ship.
floats or not.
Ah,
It's a
okay, I
ship,
see
and
where
we'll
you're
see if
going.
it floats or not.
I like how they got renamed though. Matt Lee became Daddy Magic Matt something, which is a
Maynard. They
Maynard.
just gave their real names.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and then Jeff Parker became Cool Hand Ange, which I like. It's like Big Ange
Yeah,
from
Angelo Parker.
Big
I
Ange.
still
Big Ange.
it's just like I don't know. You know what? Nope. I'm
Ah!
just gonna keep
Ah!
it nice.
Ah!
Um
Wait, let's say one nice thing about this stable. I like that there are people who I did not really truly know or appreciate in this stable. And I'm happy that they have an opportunity to be in a stable. That's my nice thing. Mari?
Jericho looks good.
He looks really good,
He looks really
actually.
good.
And
He truly does. I'm
yeah,
not even
he looks I'm just
messing
happy
around
to
with that.
see it. Yeah, I mean, these
Has he
people.
has he been gone for a while? I don't know. I
Mm-hmm.
feel like I haven't seen him in
Mm-hmm.
a minute, but I've only
Yeah,
been
I
like
guess he has
dipping in
been.
and out.
Yeah, well, he has too. So I think he was on tour.
Yes, that's what it is. That's what I was thinking. I was like, was he on Tour of Fozzy? Yeah, maybe
Yeah.
that's it. All right. Well, that's it for AEW. That's
Uh-huh.
it for the highlights of the week,
What?
and that's it for the Wrestling Wrap Up.
Oh, not permanently. We're not getting canceled this week.
Not this week. No.
We should say that every week because one day it'll just be like, oh, look at that famous last words. Look at that.
Famous last words. But yeah, like we said, all of the highlights can be found in a highlights playlist in either your show notes or your show descriptions. Join us every week while we talk about the highlights from all around the world in wrestling. Matt, what are you up to? Where can the people find you?
Oh my gosh. You know what? I'm just blessed and highly favored. I'm thankful to be
Highly
here on the
flavored.
Wrestling RHAPUp and doing the Wrestling RHAPUp things. You know, other than that, it is a more quiet time for me. Pod Friends just dropped, so planning for hopefully for another season of Pod Friends. So we'll keep you updated on that. You'll be some of the first to know about those interviews with people in the world of RHAP. But you know, you could go back, check it out. Check out Mari's interview from a couple months ago now at this point, or less than a couple months actually. That's how quick that season ran by. Damn.
Yeah.
So yeah, check that out. And also follow me at Matt Scott GW and tweet me. That's a good place. I'm active there and doing things and pod things, and I don't know. I think that's my plugs. Plugs.
Yeah, that's your plugs.
Oh my.
I am. Yes. You can find me everywhere apparently because
you're a big deal now.
Do this to myself.
You were a big deal last week, but you're a bigger deal this week because you have. Is this your first time plugging the? Big news?
The big news, yeah, and we'll get to that last. So, of course, I've been doing BB Can coverage. So you can find me. I did the live feed update last week, and I will be on some BB Can episode coverage coming up this week. So just make sure you're watching BB Canada, and you'll catch me on the episode recaps. Of course. So I just dropped, I think I talked about last week, me, Chappelle, and Latanya Starks. We're back. We got the Insecure crew back to talk about Atlanta over on post show recaps. So we just dropped the kickoff show, the what you need to know about season 1 and 2, where we recap season 1 and 2 before season 3, the premieres next week, Thursday, March 24th, and every week after that we'll be going episode by episode to recap season 3 of Atlanta. And so, you know, if you're a fan of me, Chappelle, Latanya, and you want to either get into Atlanta or you've been watching Atlanta, go check us out over on post show recaps at the Atlanta pod.
Yeah, make sure you check that out first of all, because if you're not a fan of Mari and you're a fan of me, just walk out now because I'm not a fan of you. So yeah, check it out. I'm excited. I mean, it's real.
I know, right?
Mari, the people are here. The people are here for, I mean, hopefully for both of us, but more for you. So check it out. Post show recaps. And wait, there's more? What?
Yeah. Yep.
Booked
there's
and
more.
Busy.
So so the secret is out. Me and Sarah Carradine will be bringing you True Crime Tuesdays on RHAP. We will be dropping our new podcast, Crime Scene, that's SEEN, on this Tuesday, March 22nd. Where it is a true crime review podcast where me and Sarah each week we're joined by wonderful guests to go over a different true crime, either like a docu-series or a documentary, standalone episodes, and just review true crime properties themselves. So we'll be giving out ratings, we'll be giving out recommendations for other true crime things to watch, but it's basically a true crime RHAPup. So you can follow us at Crime Scene. Again, that's SEEN. Crime Scene, RHAP, SEEN. You know, that's how you spell it. On Twitter. And you can find me on Twitter at Mari Talks Too Much, like the number 2, for to know when we drop and to follow us. And we're very excited about this. This has been a long time coming. We are bringing true crime to the RHAP universe. So go check us out, and then like send us suggestions if you're a true crime fanatic like me and Sarah. Give us some suggestions for some documentaries or shows to watch and review.
Yeah, it's awesome, and congratulations. It's an exciting time. People who have been listening for a while might know Sarah from a lot of places, but she was a guest on the Wrestling RHAPup just back in October, and it's exciting. We're just all over the place, I guess, on these RHAPups, just stacking them up, stacking them and pinning them. And so I'm excited. I'm excited because I'm a true crime person, but also a true crime person who I just don't need like all of the bloody, gory details. And then the parts of the podcast where they're like, ooh, let's put on the recording of someone calling the cops. Or it's just like, it's a lot.
I don't like those,
It's a lot. So I haven't been listening to true crime podcasts for a little while, or for maybe a year or so. So I'm excited to tune into this, and hopefully I can get my true crime fix without being traumatized.
Yeah, this is like we're trying to keep it light, just like this podcast. We want to keep it light, and we really are just going to be reviewing the properties. We're not going to be like going in depth in the crime. We're not about to try and solve any crimes or anything like that. We're just we're just going to be reviewing how, you know, the victims are portrayed, how the crime is portrayed in media, and it's going to be so fun. We will be on this week's Nothing But Netflix with Robin Chappelle watching Bad Vegan, which just dropped on Netflix. It's right up the alley of like the Twitter swindler, that scam true crime is like so in right now. So that will be our debut episode, joint project with Nothing But Netflix. So just follow us and you'll know exactly when we drop. But other than that, please go and rate, review, and subscribe to our Wrestling RHAPup feed wherever you get your podcasts. Again, you can go to robhasawebsite.com/wrestling feed if you need to still subscribe. Email us, wrestling@robhasawebsite.com. And other than that, we will see you next week. Remember, wrestling is for everyone, but not all wrestling is for everybody. Have a good night.
Throw 'em up, lay it down just like Matt and Mari. Wrestling RHAPup's gonna make it sorry. Feeling like the Rock, cause I'm driving in Ferraris, and we coming every week and it's feeling like a party. Moolah Ric Flair, showing out like Bianca Belair, Best podcast, flush it in the air, From the rings and we win it, don't care, No cap. Throw 'em up, lay it down just like Matt and Mari. Wrestling RHAPup's gonna make it sorry. Feeling like the Rock, cause I'm driving in Ferraris, and we coming every week and it's feeling like a party.